Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is May 25th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament. We're in the book of Numbers, and we're going to read chapter 30 today. Again, the Israelites, the generation that came out of Egypt and balked at going into the Promised Land, God said, fine, you don't want to go in, you're not going in, you're going to wander for 40 years until you're all gone, and then I'll bring your sons and daughters in. So we're at that stage now, and now they're getting their instructions that were originally given to their parents of all the things they need to do. This section here is talking about vows, making vows. If you vow to the Lord, you better do it, essentially. It talks about a woman making a vow. So we've said it's a patronistic society. It's basically based on males. So if a female makes a vow, is it binding or not? Well, it is, unless the husband decides that it's not, and if he decides that, well, he'll accept it. It's really confusing. But essentially, as Christians in the 21st century, what are we told when we don't make vows? Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. All right. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do it, don't do it. Don't involve the Lord in little contract disputes, I guess, is essentially what we're told as Christians. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Numbers chapter 30. Then Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. If a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Or if a woman makes a vow to the Lord and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and the agreement by which she has bound herself, when her father holds his peace, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself shall stand. But if her father overrules her on the day that he hears, then none of her vows nor her agreements by which she has bound herself shall stand, and the Lord will release her because her father overruled her. If indeed she takes a husband while bound by her vows, or by a rash utterance from her lips by which she binds herself, and her husband hears it, and he makes no response to her on the day that he hears, then her vow shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband overrules her on the day that he hears it, he shall make void her vow which she took, and what she uttered with her lips, by which she bound herself, and the Lord will release her. Also any vow of a widow or a divorced woman by which she has bound herself shall stand against her. If she vowed in her husband's house or bound herself by an agreement with an oath, and her husband heard it and made no response to her and did not overrule her, then all her vows shall stand, and her agreement by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband truly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatever proceeded from her lips concerning her vows or concerning the agreement binding her, it shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will release her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her soul, her husband may confirm it, or her husband may make it void. Now if her husband makes no response whatever to her from day to day, then he confirms all her vows or all the agreements that bind her. He confirms them because he made no response to her on the day that he heard them. But if he does make them void after he has heard them, then he shall bear her guilt. These are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter, in her youth, in her father's house. May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.